Surface Spins.
Hello, Surface Spins here. Yes, we went out to Fremont, California, and visited a record shop called Needle to the Groove. We were out that way to see a black and white silent film at the Niles Film Museum. Neat place, neat history. Now they call it the Niles District. It's not really its own separate city anymore. But at one time, it was a city called Niles, and it featured a film studio. And for about a year, Charlie Chaplin made movies out there. In fact, he made his famous movie, The Tramp, out there in Niles, California. Again, now it's part of Fremont. To get there, you could take BART. It would be kind of a long trip, and the Fremont BART station is still about a 10-minute bus ride away. So you could BART in and then maybe take an Uber to the Niles District, or a bus, which is about a 10-minute bus ride. And I think BART closes at midnight going back to the city. So you'd have to make sure you were back out of there again if you stayed late. It gets pretty quiet in this Niles District, and it's very peaceful. It's full of antique shops, restaurants, and this wonderful little record store called Needle to the Groove. As it happened, that day when we got there, a local radio station, KFJC, was doing a sort of a sidewalk event, and there were a lot of people there listening to the music, and the owner's a really nice fellow. It's a very small but compact collection of records. He doesn't necessarily do online business, but if you emailed him, maybe he would. That was sort of what the vibe I got from him. But he really wants people to come into the store and to enjoy the experience of going to a record store in person rather than online. Doesn't have any CDs that I remember seeing, only records, and a pretty good collection. A lot of reissues, really nicely curated reissues, and then a sprinkling of vintage pieces too throughout. I think it's worth the trip. It's a nice store, and I would go back. So let's take a look. Let's do a flip through one of the stacks in the store, and I went to the letter S and flipped through there, and I flipped through another section too. So let's take a look at the letter S in his store. So you can see he's got Dusty Springfield, a reissue. Again, I would say a good collection of reissues. The prices were all fair, I felt. Many of the titles I didn't know. He says that any record that he puts in the store in a plastic sleeve is guaranteed to be in good shape of the used records. This is an interesting Japanese one, mountain. Japanese mountain. Interesting. You can see a lot of reissues. He does have a sort of a dollar bin section too, but I don't think you can guarantee the quality on those records. A lot of titles here I'm unfamiliar with. But just to flip through to get sort of a sense of the type of things he has in the store. A Suede album I hadn't heard of. And when I mentioned to him that I was interested in Japanese films he took me over to a different section and unveiled a complete collection of really interesting Japanese anime soundtracks. And Kiki's delivery service was right at the front. A lot of the Studio Ghibli soundtracks were available. Totoro. So he has a lot of these. Most of these are reissues, because we all know the first presses on those are very expensive. But he has an amazing collection of Japanese, I guess they're soundtracks to other animation. Pretty amazing titles. I mean, just amazing collection of titles in one spot to see all in one place. So that sort of gives you a flavor of this record shop, Needle to the Groove. What did I pick up? I picked up one record, and I went to the soundtrack section, and I found this for a good price. It's Robert Redford's film The Natural, and the soundtrack is by Randy Newman, and it was still sealed, so I was happy to pick this one up. And it sounds great. It's a favorite film of mine, and to get the soundtrack, try to relive some of the feelings of that movie were really nice. It sounds really fantastic. Happy to add that to my soundtrack collection. So if you get a chance and you're out this way, Fremont, California, stop by Needle to the Groove. I hope you do. It's a great little shop. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Surface Spin signing out.